Got you again. Hey, Orange, I got you. Woo, that was close.
Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, dad, tradesies.
Good shot.
What's up, guys? This is the Sirius747 by HingYip Industries, or Rance Chan. It is obviously a really cool looking sci-fi blaster. He designed it with cosplay in mind, with Ghost in the Shell, kind of sci-fi LARPing in mind, which is really cool because we have a lot of that in, community and whatnot. People like that a lot. It's kind of a Bullpup look to it, a really compact feel, but it's also got some cool features. So let's check it out. Okay, so this is a flywheel blaster. It uses a LiPo battery to spin flywheels to shoot the dart. It has a dual stage trigger here where the bottom trigger revs the wheels or turns it on. The top trigger then fires the blaster. It has a really cool mag release system where this entire nub is the mag release. It can be easy to accidentally activate it, so I made the string extra beefy. It takes straight Talon magazines, but the mag release is just really smooth. Where you hit it, the mag drops, and of course you can catch the mag or just let it hit the ground if you want, where you release it and the mag drops clean. Super cool. So that's a cool, neat feature. I've never seen a blaster with that big of a mag release, but it makes sense because in a Bullpup CQB fast pace, I'm just dropping my mags anyway, so I'll hit that lever, or like I'll get my new mag, and then I'll hit that lever, and then I'll put my new mag in. So it's super cool feature there. The stock is adjustable. It has 2 settings, but I'm thinking about adding a 3rd in the middle because this feels too long to me. This feels too short. I'm weird. I like something in the middle like that. But it does lock. Locking adjustable slide is really cool, or adjustable sliding stock built in. And that also, this little thumb screw releases the stock so that you can get to the battery compartment. And it's got a pretty big size battery compartment. I can fit like this beefy LiPo, which is not a normal LiPo you use in Nerf. This is, I don't know what this is from, but it's like nice and thick. But the battery compartment can house that just like that. You've got plenty of room for whatever LiPo have you. Then the battery cover just slides back on. Now onto some really, really cool features, okay? So a lot of flywheelers, if you get a jam, you're just gonna seize up your blaster, take it apart, fix it. But the Sirius has this function where you can actually release the entire dust cover upward to access the wheels, get a dart jammed in there and clear it, or access the barrel. So if you get a bad dart, I've had darts like just our community bin, just stepped on, smushed, indoor event, and I just pick them off the ground and feed them. If I get a jam, all I have to do is open it, clear the jam out, and then I'm ready to go again. Unlike a lot of flywheelers where that can be detrimental, you can have a catastrophic jam where you burn out your motors or whatever, but as soon as you feel it jam, you can stop it and you can service it and then you can keep going. In HVZ, running off darts off the ground, I didn't really have to worry about it because I knew if it jammed, I could just pop it open, unjam, and then keep going, versus normally you'd have to be extra careful to load only good darts in your mag so it doesn't jam. So that built-in dust cover I think is really good. Might not be good though if you're playing in the dust like the desert of Utah where it might get really gummed up, but we'll see how it does. Oh, gotcha. Oh, that's a hit, got one. The pusher mechanism and flywheel is his Wolves core. He designed after the original Fly core. Fly core, I believe, was made in the US for, Imperial hardware, but he designed this one using Chinese hardware, which makes it harder to source, I guess, if you're in America, to find all the bits and screws. Most people in the US use either 440s or they use M3 screws, standard stuff, but this uses like Chinese toy screws, like self-tapping screws, 2.6 size, all this crazy stuff, which is harder to source, and the pusher motor itself is hard to source because it's expensive, and I haven't found very many that you can get wholesale, but we're looking at other options as well. We have found a higher torque, higher RPM, similar size motor, and I'm really excited to try that out. Even though this already has a really good high rate of fire, I think more torque would be good to prevent jams and higher rate of fire to make this more of like a dart hose, because if I'm going full auto, I might as well just go full auto. So that's a cool feature about the Sirius that uses a Wolves core, which you could design other blasters around, which he is actually working on, and maybe you guys would be interested in designing your own too. So far, I think it actually was just released a couple of months ago, so I'm not surprised no one has adopted it yet, but hopefully we can help make that more mainstream for you guys. Some other features is the big one here, an integrated BCAR. This one's covered in dart dust, but it's got rows of bearings on the inside. There we go, boom. Just drops in and out. So you don't have to have it if you want high FPS, don't care about accuracy, or you're running, you don't want to risk jams or something like that, so you can have a nice wide bore barrel. Or you can drop this cool little thing in with these little locking nubs that just slides in. So then you can have these little locking rings here that you can just slide in and twist. And there you go, integrated BCAR. That actually makes it really accurate. We were very impressed, very surprised with using new darts, shooting through this system, or even used darts honestly can benefit from it as well, but getting really tight groupings. Now this one is currently set up. Of course, you have worker Hurricane wheels, and these are using 74K motors, but you could also use 3S Fangs or Merlin motors. But you get, with this setup, HVZ range about 100 to 130 FPS. It's got a pretty wide crush though, so you could obviously make the crush tighter and use higher crush wheels, and I believe that you should be able to get this around the 200 mark, maybe 180. Again, with those band blasters, 74K micro banshees, I'm pretty sure we could get this close to that 180 mark. So for even your super stock or 160 FPS games, I'm excited to be able to run this in those 160 games. I ran this in a 160 game already, and it was a little underpowered because it is shooting the HVZ range, but everything else about it I think was spot on. It was super fast, quick response, really easy to load and reload, and it's got a stock on it, so you can actually aim a little better than you would normally. So all the pros there. Also, this top mount here, this top rail can be removed, and then you have an integrated iron sight on the top of this, whatever you call this, carry handle type thing, but you've got plenty of rails on the front and sides for your optics and sights and lasers and other cosplay accessories. Built-in cheek rest here. There is a longer one as well. Doesn't do much practically speaking, but if you're actually using the rails and the sight, it actually has a pretty good cheek weld with being able to line up with those sights. So that cheek rest, unlike a lot of cheek rests, is actually practical since you have this built-in riser up front. I'm like a blabbermouth right now, but I'm actually really excited about this because of how well it works, surprisingly, with the pusher motor and everything and the gears and whatnot. There's a handful of things that we will tweak for the production model. One being, of course, the print quality, being a new design and whatnot, different angles and supports and stuff needed optimizing for those settings, as well as making it compatible with a wider variety of hardware. Especially people say, oh, they're making it compatible with other hardware, must be making it worse, except for the fact that these are the currently in production worker Hurricane wheels. In order to use them in this shell, you have to cut or gouge out giant guides for the tops of those wheels. So that's one thing, is modify the STL, we can make it compatible with other wheels and other crushes. That's a win-win in my opinion. As well as some of the hardware being harder to source, we're gonna still source those for you so you can have the original screw sizes and whatnot, but there are certain things like heat inserts and stuff like that that I feel like there's a wide variety of heat inserts out there, and the ones in this build are not as commonly used in Nerf builds, and so you could go through to make those holes wider or shorter or adjust your hardware, which we will do as well. But overall, pretty quick build, pretty intuitive build. It will come down to your printers and print settings if you get a kit to build your own, but overall I think it's a really nice CQB sci-fi platform. I'm really excited to run this in some HVZ games. It is a little back heavy because the battery and the other internals and motors are back here, so that's the only con I can find about it, is it's back heavy, as well as integrated sling points. It's designed to take a M4 worker sling point here, but that's gonna make your blaster swivel on this kind of angle, and I prefer mine to sit in more naturally like this, so I might add a sling point somewhere on the back in the middle here-ish area, such that I can have it more easily ready to go. The only other thing that I'm gonna change that I don't like is the stock is one of those where you can lock it so it doesn't collapse on you, but you can't prevent it from coming out. So if I just pull this right now, it comes all the way out and it won't collapse. But that's a problem because if I wanted a middle position or all the way closed position and I wanted to put a sling point on the back or somewhere on that, I can't do that because then the whole blaster is just gonna extend on me. It doesn't lock in both positions. So I'm gonna make that change as well, personal preference there. That way you can have a little bit more options as far as what you can mount to it and attach to it. Because you're usually not gonna worry about quick deploying that stock. It's not like the QWK Edge where it has a spring-loaded stock. Overall, I think it was an amazing design. Working with him has been good. And he did, again, like it's tremendous. Another cool thing about it is because it is so compact and it's like really thin, and unlike some other builds where you lose some of the size proportions because things are just kind of made bigger. I think it's nice to see a build that both looks cool and functions well, that's not overly sized, and like the grip, like it doesn't feel like a toy. It feels like it should feel, which is really cool. So let us know what you think about the Sirius747. It'll be available on our shop. We have licensing secured and everything. Looking at getting that cost down for you guys, but maintaining that build quality and all the other fun things about it. In the end though, it is basically another flywheeler, full auto lipo powered, but the BCAR, I think, more and more builds who put the BCAR right after the flywheels. I'm really liking that, but we'll see how that goes in our various gameplay as we get to use it. Come check it out at events we're at or online. And then here it is.